Commission to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Announcements. Are there any agenda changes or updates?
All updates were published yesterday.
So now we have the swearing in of new commissioners.
Good morning. If you guys could please stand, Mr. Bauer and Ms. Gay, and raise your right hand. All right. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida, that you are qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state, and that you will well and faithfully perform at all times the duties of the Planning Commission on which you are now about to enter? Yes? Thank you. Congratulations on behalf of the clerk's office.
Yep, congratulations. Now is the time to vote for acting chair. Oh, let's see, citizen comments. Each person will be allowed 3 minutes in a 30-minute period.
Hang on one second, Mr. DeLazline. Before we have to go back and actually do the vote for the acting chair.
Okay.
And just as a point of clarification, it's just acting chair for this meeting.
Okay.
At the January 16th meeting, presuming we have our full roster of commissioners, I think at that point, the 2025 assignments will be addressed at that meeting.
Fair enough.
Okay? And the only reason why this is being done today is because we have basically our backups that were already elected in 2024, they are not present today. So we do have to have an acting chair for this meeting.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Motion, Commissioner DeLazline as acting chair for today.
Is there any other nominations? Can we go ahead and take a vote on this?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so I think it was, and again, could you just by a raise of hands, as the ayes, it looks like it was a unanimous 4-0 vote for Mr. DeLazline as the acting chair for today.
Thank you. Now is the time to open up for citizen comment on consideration for future agendas, not on this docket. Is there anybody that would like to stand up and have your 3 minutes?
For the record, Glenn Gibolina. We have a quasi-judicial. We don't need to get sworn in. Just checking. Anyways, I want to talk about the sunshine laws a little bit because you're all under the sunshine laws. So hopefully you'll respect the process because lately it has not been that smooth. So one of my questions is why don't you guys have your own emails? I don't get it. There's going to be a problem when I want to do a records request. We got to dig into your personal emails. Really, it's unacceptable. So I'm going to get them anyways because I did a records request on all of you through your application. So you'll be hearing from me because I don't think the stuff I send to the county actually gets to you guys. So this is why it's important. There could be a liability to the county if you didn't have your private. I mean, it's such an easy fix. Just assign 5 emails. I mean, I don't know what the big deal is. I think all the advisory boards need to do it. But my letter, which by the way, would have sent to you if I had your emails, but I don't. And I think it's important information that when the public comes up here, that there's transparency and accountability on everything you do. You know, so I think, and there's a liability. You know, if I read part of this letter, you'll see. I'm writing to express my deep concern regarding the alarming rate of unchecked development in our community. You know, the emails that under the sunshine laws have to be adhered to, and I just don't see it. Because everybody needs to be accountable for that. So I am just asking that I think it's in the best interest to save a lot of hassle, that you get your own emails, because if I have to do a records request and have to dig into your personal email, they're gonna come back to me, oh, Glenn, it's their personal email. It's gonna take us 2 hours and we need $150 for that one sentence you were looking for. You put a hardship on the citizens that are trying to get accountability from this board and other boards. I do a lot of records requests. Most of them get fulfilled, a lot of them don't, because you use burner phones, you use different emails. That's not the kind of county you want to be running here. And again, it's such an easy fix. Just ask the administrator of the county to set up 5 emails with mymanatee.org. Save me a lot of aggravation and the public. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else? Thank you. Swearing in of citizens on any,
Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and representations you will present to the planning commission are truthful and accurate? I do. Thank you.
can we go ahead and read in the first item?
Item number 1, PA 2316, ordinance 23-04, Palmetto Asphalt Plant CPA, Small Scale Comprehensive Plan Amendment. It's legislative. We have CJ Mills for staff, and it's for providing for a privately initiated small-scale map amendment to the future land use map of the future land use element on approximately 4.36 acres to designate specific real property generally located at the northeast corner of 28th Avenue East and 17th Street East at 3010 17th Street East, Palmetto, from industrial light to industrial heavy, future land use.
Thank you. This is a presentation upon request. Can we have the county staff up to just do a quick opening? Or is there? Yeah, please.
Do you want the applicant to go first?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Is the applicant here?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Just a brief description, and we can ask the board if they need more.
I'm not sure how this works. I'm Chris from Civil X Engineering. Basically, the future land use is split between industrial light and industrial heavy, like right down the middle of the lot. So we're just requesting to have the entire lot converted to heavy. I don't know, do you have like a screen share? Oh, here we go. Chris Kolb, K-O-L-B. So that's kind of my basic presentation. Right now, they're recycling concrete for road base, essentially. So when we did the site plans, we were limited to kind of the crushing just on the right side. But now, if we go industrial heavy for the whole thing, we can kind of reconfigure the site a little better for their operations. So, I don't know. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bowers?
It'll turn on. Oh, there it is. Looking at the aerial map, can you just remind us what you're surrounded by here? It looks to me like you're in an area that's all industrial. Does that sound right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, this parcel is vacant now, but the zoning is industrial. This is kind of like industrial outdoor storage. This is a cement plant. I think this is another, there's a couple cement plants and manufacturers, I think they make stairs here, concrete stairs. But yeah, it's pretty much surrounded by, I mean, if you've been down 17th Street in that area, it's all
Right.
pretty heavy industrial.
And what's that plot of land directly to, I think you're west, across the road?
This one?
Yes, sir. Okay, yes. It just looks larger on the map.
Yeah, that one is actually kind of pasture land right now.
Okay. And what businesses surround you currently?
This one is a concrete plant. This one, I think, is a site contractor, like kind of a laydown yard. These are outdoor storage where they store a bunch of semi-trailers. This one is I don't know if it actually has a real land use, but they store Connex boxes for like the temporary construction trailers. So they have like 4 basically shipping containers stacked high. I mean, there is some residential kind of east. There's a church in the corner. But for the most part, I mean, we're surrounded pretty heavily by industrial, and it kind of continues this way too. I don't
So
know if
just
I've-
addressing what I'm sure we're gonna hear, give you an opportunity to address it. What is your current business on the land now?
It's Dana Site Development, so they do land development. Right now, basically, they're recycling crushed concrete. So
Okay.
people will bring in, they'll clear or sidewalk or whatever, they'll dump it there, they'll crush it and turn it into road base to build roads.
And how will it
essentially.
be different moving forward if this is approved?
I don't know what their plans are in the future, but we can kind of, so they have a new owner and they're working on kind of cleaning it up right now. Right now, they have just huge stockpiles. So right now, they want to kind of clean it up and reconfigure the site so they can kind of crush over there and then organize their equipment and stuff on site. That's kind of their plans,
Okay, thank you.
immediately.
Is there any other questions? At this time, can we open up to citizens' comments?
Well, before we move on, Mr. Chris, any items that you put on the projector there, if you could give those to the clerk's office, so that way they're incorporated into the record, I
Yep.
would appreciate it.
Is that you? Okay.
Do you
Alright.
want to hear staff comment, staff presentation?
I don't think so. no.
Okay.
Thank you.
For the record, Glenn Giblina. I have been sworn, but I don't think this is quasi-judicial.
No, this one is legislative, Mr. Giuliano.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so this is a terrible idea. I will tell you why. I have firsthand knowledge. I live across the street from heavy manufacturing, and I'm zone light manufacturing, and we're a residential area. This is absolutely, and this would be forever. You say it's not around houses? You've got houses, hundreds of them, within a couple of blocks. And they're gonna have light pollution, air pollution, sound pollution. I'm gonna read my letter into the record. And by the way, future land use around there, all residential, all residential. I'm writing to express my firm opposition to the proposed Palmetto asphalt plant, concentrator plant. As outlined in the ordinance, I have firsthand experience living adjacent to industrial McLeod land clearing, and they do crush concrete, and my house is filthy every day. They don't take care of the roads, they don't do anything. And I have state-built pavers 50 feet from my house, and they brrr with those pavers 24/7. It's terrible. Heavy manufacturing should never be anywhere near residential. The incessant noise generated by industrial activity travels far beyond the property lines, invading the peace and quiet that residents deserve in their homes. This noise pollution is compounded by dust and airborne pollutions that not only compromise our air quality, but also pose serious health threats to community members. The existing residential neighborhoods are entitled to a safe and healthy living environment. And the establishment of an asphalt plant would directly contradict this fundamental right. Light manufacturing may present challenges, but the introduction of heavy industry, and I don't believe that other parcel is heavy industry. I went to the clerk's appraiser's page. I didn't see HM there, so you might want to check into what they're saying. I just don't believe it. This light manufacturing and induces of heavy industry is a non-negotiable concern for the residents and safety of well-being. We cannot allow the interest of industry to overshadow the needs and the rights of the community. In conclusion, I urge the planning board to prioritize the quality of life, these folks that are not that far from this plant. Another thing I want to mention, as long as I'm up here, is that when you vote, yes or no, you should tell us why. If we've got 50 people who are against the project and you vote yes, you have to tell us why. And we haven't done that with the past boards, and I think it's important to the public and the citizens and the taxpayers that come in and address their concerns, how you vote and why you voted that way. Thank you. Terrible idea.
Thank you. Is there any more citizen comments? At this time, let's go ahead and have staff do their presentation.
Good morning, my name is CJ Mills with staff, and I have been sworn. Do you want the full presentation, or would you like me to just touch on some of the things that were spoken about?
Let's just go ahead and do the full.
Okay. All right. So again, this is the Palmetto Asphalt Plant Comp Plan Amendment, PA 2316. This is the site location, as we've talked about before. A little bit of history on it. It has been the IL and IH future land use categories since the adoption of the comprehensive plan, and it's also been heavy manufacturing since the 1990 Land Development Code. This is the current future land use category, and the proposed, as you can see, half of it is already IH. Surrounding is more industrial heavy on the east and the south, and then there is industrial light to the north and the west. These are some of the range of potential uses. A lot of them are very similar. As you can see, the support uses, intensive commercial. One of the big differences in the IL and the IH is objectionable impact. The intensity allowed in both is 0.75, but since we are in the urban infill redevelopment area, it's 1.0. Again, this is the zoning. It's going to be heavy manufacturing, and as you can see, there's heavy manufacturing to the southeast and light manufacturing to the north and west. The urban infill redevelopment area, as you can see, the property that's pointed out with the arrow, it is within that area. That does encourage compatible commercial and industrial uses. Some of the positive aspects is that the transition seems consistent with growing conditions in the south and the east. It is located west of the FDAB, and as I said, it is located in the urban infill redevelopment area. Some of the negative aspects is that there is vacant agricultural land to the west, that's zone LM, so there could be negative impacts for that. And that the project is auto-dependent, so there's no ability for workers to bike and walk to the facility. And some of the mitigating measures are detailed analysis at future site development for adverse impacts, capacity, impact on public facilities and utilities and transportation. The future development shall be applicable or shall comply with all applicable provisions of the LDC, and there will be adequate buffering and landscaping to have appropriate transitions. In conclusion, the plan amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the applicable LDC requirements. And I'll be here if you have any questions.
Is there any questions for the staff? Mr. Bowers?
There it is. All right. Sorry, I'm the guy with always a million questions. Can you go back to the pros, cons, et cetera, screen?
Sure.
All right. Explain to me a little bit about the land of the west that's zoned LM. What does zone LM mean?
So that's going to be light manufacturing. As Mr. Kolb stated earlier, part of it appears to be vacant pasture land right now, but within the boundaries of that parcel, I believe there's actually a auto repair shop there.
Okay.
So a bit of it's vacant and agricultural, but it's LM zoning and it's being used for non-agricultural uses.
Staff haven't heard any objection from that landowner?
No, I have not received anything.
And then, being born and raised here, those residential areas, I think, to the west and a little bit to the, northeast, those were all developed after all this industrial was all in place, was it not?
I believe so, and I think that I have it here. So you can see, I know that on the east portion of this zoning map, you can see that PDR, and then all the way at the top on the northern portion, there is a little bit more PDR, but surrounding the site is all LM, HM, industrial heavy, industrial light.
So all around this is conducting business under the heavy.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
And let's see. This kind of gives you an idea of an aerial. You can see that surrounding it is industrial manufacturing uses.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
I'm pretty familiar with this site. Most of it used to be packing plants to the south of it, and there's a lot of concrete batch plants and stuff like that further down either way. Like you said, there's a concrete steer company too, kind of catty corner from it.
And I would like to add one more thing, if I can. So, per the Land Development Code, Table 4.1, HM is, heavy manufacturing uses are not an implementing zoning district in the industrial light future land use category. So changing this all to industrial heavy would actually make it compatible and reduce that nonconformity. So that's all I have unless there's any more questions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, do we want to reopen it up for citizens' comments, or can we just go ahead and close it?
I don't believe there were any other citizens here to comment, and Mr. Jablina, I think,
Okay.
got his time.
At this time, let's close the presentations and take a vote.
I'll step up, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Make a motion based off staff report, evidence presented, findings, requests be consistent with the Manatee Comprehensive Plan. Applicable portions of Chapter 163, Part 2, Florida statutes. I move to adopt the Plan Amendment PA 2305, Ordinance 2504.
You need to hit the move button on your, or did everybody?
Sorry. Can you put the move back? Sorry.
And we need a second. I'll second. Okay. At this time, we'll vote.
And with respect, sorry. I think, and with respect to the motion, would that be recommend adoption? I just want to make sure that that's, okay.
This case passes 4-0 in favor. Can we read numbered item 2 in?
And again, I don't know, I guess, was the motion updated? I'm to recommend, okay, because I verbally, it didn't seem like the language did carry, but as long as it's recommend adoption, we're still good. Okay, all right, very good. Sorry, thank you.
Item number 2, Z 2413, Oneco Oaks duplexes, and it's quasi-judicial. CJ Mills is here for the planner, and this is to be continued to January 16th, 2025 at 9 a.m. or as soon thereafter as same may be heard.
Sorry, one last thing on the last item. I wanted to back up before the motion and did want to open it up to any call-ins. Since it was legislative, I just want to make sure there weren't any folks that wanted to discuss that. My apologies on that.
There are no callers at this time.
Thank you for confirming.
So on this, we'll open up the public hearing for citizen comments and then take a vote on moving it to January 16th. Is there any citizen comments on this?
And it would just be on the continuation itself.
At this time, I'd like to close the public hearing and take a motion.
I move to recommend the continuance, Mr. Chair.
We have Matt Bauer moves it, seconded by Jeff Esslinger. Now, let's cast our votes. This motion passes 4-0. Item number 3.
Item number 3, Z 2417, Golf Course Road, 5-acre rezone. Lisa Affrons is the owner. It's quasi-judicial, and we have CJ Mills here for staff. It's providing a rezone of approximately 5.13 acres, generally located on the south side of Golf Course Road, approximately 1 mile east of Fort Hamer Road, and approximately .36 miles west of Spencer Parish Road, commonly known as 13305 Golf Course Road Parish, from A to A1 zoning.
Is the applicant present? Yes, sir. Can you give us a brief description of the project?
Good morning, everyone. For the record, Tom Sikarsky, certified planner with RVI Planning and Landscape Architecture. So the request is to rezone the property. I have been sworn, sorry. The request is to rezone the property, essentially to allow for two single-family homes that are already built on the site.
Sorry, I'm just going to have to ask you to pause for 1 second. Could you just, before he continues, check if there have been any ex parte communications on this?
Yes, sir. Has there been any ex parte communications on this?
Please proceed. And
Thank
your
you.
last name again, sir?
Sikarsky.
Sirkarski, thank you.
Essentially, the rezones to allow for two single-family homes, which are already constructed. The owner is looking, her daughter has one home, she has the other. She's essentially looking for the rezone so they can have two legal lots. Nothing else is being constructed. It's really just to tidy up for two separate parcels for ownership.
Thank you, sir. Is there any questions from the applicant? Do we need a presentation on this? Okay. Let's just open it up to citizen comments. At this time, we're going to close citizen comments, and may I have a motion? Motion moved by Jeff Esslinger and seconded by Matt Bauer. Let's please vote. Motion passes 4-0. Could you read number 4 and number 5 together?
Yes, these two will be open together, but separate motions will be taken. Item number 4, PA 2412, ordinance number 24-87, Triple Oak Preserve Comprehensive Plan Amendment. It's a county-initiated large-scale comprehensive map amendment. It's legislative, and we have Camden Jenkins here for staff. It's providing for a county-initiated large-scale map amendment to the future land use map of the future land use element of 3 parcels totaling 107.61 acres, generally located at 30470 and 30480 Betts Road and 103rd Avenue East, Mayaca City, and it's from the AGR to the Conservation Future Land Use Classification. Item number 5 is Z2419, Triple Oak Preserve, county-owned property. It's a county-initiated rezone, and Manatee County is the owner, and this is quasi-judicial, and Camden Jenkins is here for staff. It's a rezone of 3 parcels totaling approximately 107.63 acres from general agricultural to conservation, and it's located at the address previously supplied.
Thank you. Has there been any ex parte communications on this? No. May we have the applicant up to do a presentation?
Good morning, Rachel Layton for staff. I have been sworn. Have today the privilege of introducing you to Camden Jenkins, one of our new planner ones on staff, and he will be presenting on behalf of Manatee County for this comprehensive plan and rezone. He's a recent graduate of the Urban and Regional Planning Program at Florida State. So welcome to Camden.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Camden Jenkins with staff. I have been sworn. So as you heard, this is two items, the Triple Oak Preserve Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment and the rezone. So this site is located at the intersection of Betts Road and Anson Road and is around 107 acres. The CPA request on item 4 is for a large-scale comprehensive plan map amendment from agricultural rural to the conservation lands future land use category. This is the third property that has been purchased with funds from the Conservation and Parks Project Bond that was approved by referendum on November 3rd, 2020, for the purpose of protecting water quality and fish and wildlife habitat. So this is the current use category. This is agricultural rural. As you can guess, it is primarily intended for the preservation of agriculture and low-density residential. You are allowed to build one dwelling unit for every 5 acres, and the intensity has a floor area ratio of 0.23. Now, for the proposed category, conservation lands, it's primarily intended to preserve and protect open spaces and passive recreation, and does not allow for the construction of any sort of dwelling unit or any sort of commercial dwelling, commercial building, with few exceptions that are listed on the right. For item number 5, this is a zoning atlas map amendment from general agriculture to the conservation zoning district. And with this, the county intends to establish Triple Oak as a nature preserve. So the current zoning is general agriculture, which preserves agricultural lands and promotes agricultural economic activity, whereas the conservation district preserves open spaces, waters, vegetation, and wildlife habitats. So for the positive aspects of this project, this could help the county improve their county rating system under the National Flood Insurance Program to Class 4, which would give Manatee County residents an extra 5% discount on their flood insurance premiums, bringing that total up to 30%. This will also remove residential entitlements out of the 100-year floodplain, reducing potential damage and safety risks. This will also promote public health and welfare by identifying the property as a nature preserve. And finally, it will also improve the accuracy of our future land use maps. The county does not find any negative aspects with this project. And for our mitigating measure, we are presenting items 4 and 5 together just for convenience and ease. In conclusion, both the proposed map amendment and the rezone can be found to be consistent with the Manatee County Comprehensive Plan and in compliance with the Land Development Code. Thank you, Commissioners. Any questions?
I have a question. Mr. Jenkins, with respect to the testimony that you provided to item number 5, was that provided under sworn testimony?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Is there any other additional questions?
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Just for my own purposes,
Mhm.
who's in charge of purchasing the land to begin with?
I believe that this is done with the county, but I can defer to Rachel or anyone who feels confident in answering that question.
Sorry to stump you.
No
on your
worries.
First go around.
No, I appreciate the question.
Commissioner, typically Natural Resources and Property Management identify the properties and go through the process of acquiring the land that is then approved by the Board of County Commissioners. So this property has been acquired, I believe, yes?
Yes.
And we do have a few more that will be lining up in the near future for other recent acquisitions by the county. But again, Natural Resources and Property Management take the lead on those items, and then they let us know so that we can process these internal applications to make the changes to the future land use categories and the zoning maps.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any additional questions?
Yes, I have a question, and forgive me if I'm getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but generally, I am all in favor of conserving our lands, having parks, preserves, and things like that. Do we know if the plan for this is going to be something comparatively to a Robinson Preserve versus a Rye Preserve? I simply ask that because those are two wonderful parks and preserves that we have, but they bring in a very different amount of traffic to those preserves. And in the event that it is something more aligned with Robinson Preserve versus Rye, I would like to know if there are other factors being looked at, such as the traffic, the roads situation, and things like that leading to this preserve. This is already a road and area that is, has very fatal accidents on a recurring basis.
That's a good question, Commissioner. Thank you very much. In terms of these particular items, I believe this is just a map amendment and a rezone, so I don't think that those have been looked into yet, but I am sure when the time comes around that those will be thoroughly looked into.
Thank you.
I guess let's hear from staff in reference to traffic, road improvements.
Nelson, take it away.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nelson Galeano, Transportation Planning, and I have been served. I want to touch 2-3 different topics only for clarification purposes. This project doesn't generate new traffic. It means for that reason, we don't have any traffic study. We provide a traffic study waiver. And it limits essentially any type of analysis. And that is important because there are no changes on the impacts or on the operation conditions on the Betts Road. That is one item. The second item I want to take is this is a CPA, Comprehensive Plan Amendment, and a rezone. Usually, and only for your knowledge, usually comprehensive plan amendments have 2 different scenarios, the long term and the short term. And we compare what happened with the current infrastructure and with the future and see how is the impacts on the roadway network. For this one, of course, we don't need it, but be aware that for future CPA projects here, we will have this type of analysis. Betts Road is a local road. We don't have traffic information. We by sure, we know that this is in a good operation condition, and probably, based on our experience, the level of service will be lower than C. Thank you.
Camden, it might be useful to put the slide up that had the uses that could be.
Of course. I'd be happy to. So for some of the potential uses that can be built, they are all usually related to the act of conservation itself. With approval of the board, you are able to build school uses on conservation lands. From my knowledge, that is not the intent with this particular property. However, in terms of conservation buildings that can be built, you're looking at caretakers' residences, a visitor's center, environmental education facilities, things along those lines that help promote and benefit the act of conservation.
And Mr. Jenkins, would it be accurate to say if for some reason a school use was proposed on this conservation, that would have to be evaluated separately at
Yes.
a subsequent stage of development, at a subsequent development application, and then those things such as traffic and stormwater and those kind of related items would be evaluated with that subsequent application? Would that be accurate?
Absolutely, sir. That's correct. Thank you. Absolutely. I'm going to hand it over to our environmental expert, Kara.
Good morning, Planning Commission. Kara Koenig, Environmental Planning Section Manager, and I have been sworn. So this property was vetted through the Environmental Land Management and Acquisition Committee that we have as a board within Manatee County. And if you're interested, they do have a property dashboard where they have nominations for preserves throughout the county. So the county employee that spearheads that is Deborah Worth, the Environmental Lands Program Manager. So if you do have more questions, you definitely can reach out to her.
And Ms. Koenig, the testimony that you provided, that was sworn testimony, correct? Which one? Sorry, I'm being completist, but I just wanted to make sure. Thank you. I might have missed it.
Is there any other additional questions? Thank you, sir. This
Thank
time,
you.
let's open it up for citizen comments.
For the record, Glenn Giblin and Manatee County have been sworn. So it went through LMAC, that's great. And that's the way it should be. My question is, what did we pay for the property? That's a taxpayer question. I mean, we only have so much money in LMAC to buy these types of land. And I think it's important. I mean, if we got 50 million and we spent 50 million, well, then LMAC might as just close up shop. If we got 50 million and this was $1 million, then we can move forward. Any of you know how much we paid for it? Again, transparency and accountability. As a taxpayer, I think it's important to me that we're using these funds properly. I love the idea. I think they're not making any more land. Buy all we can under the right terms, as long as we're conservative. And it went through the committee and said, this is a great piece of property. We need to move forward. But again, all these internal things. Well, land management did it, and then property acquisitions, and everything's done internally. But there's no price tag. How do you go in a car dealership and don't know the price of what you're going to pay for it? I don't get it. I just think that should be one of the questions from the board. It went through LMAC, rated very high. We're going to buy it. Here's our starting funds. Here's what we paid for it. This is what we got left to work with. The public should need to know that on both pieces of property. This is a great idea. Need to move forward. As long as it's got a porta potty there, I'm happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other citizen comments on this?
And could we double check if there is anyone on the phone to talk on item number 4, which is legislative?
No callers at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any additional questions before I close?
My only thing on that, I'm was in agreement with Glenn, but my understanding is this property's already been acquired by the county, assuming approved by the Board of County Commissioners, correct?
9:42 a.m.
All right. Ma'am?
Rachel Layton for staff. According to our website, it looks to be that the purchase price was about $3.6 million and was done in June of this year.
That would be the previous board before elected officials, right?
Correct. Sorry, it's July 26, 2004 was the closing date.
At this time, can we get a motion for item 4? Moved by Matt Bauer and seconded by Alyssa Gray. Please cast your votes. Item 4 passes 4-0. Item 5 now. May I have a motion? Moved by Matt Bauer, seconded by Alyssa Gray. Please cast your votes. Item passes 4-0. That ends all applications today. Y'all have a great holiday. Any other additional items?
Well done, Acting Chair.
Yep, thank you. I close this meeting. Thank you. Yep, we are-